Well, would you look at this? Coming off of a disappointing main box, it looks like we're following up with a little bit of a spicy mini box. I guess that's just how how Duel Links is now. All the mini boxes are goated and all the mains, well, it is what it is. Now, this is I've seen a couple cards in here, but not all of them. This is largely going to be my first time reading some of these cards, but there are some cards in here that seem pretty gosh darn good. So let's get into it without further ado. Let's talk about the cards in the new leaked mini box Energy of Gigarays. This seems to be a heavily original Dark Magician or DM world, if you will. There's Bakura coming out as well. We'll go over his skills and stuff too. This is all on Duel Links Meta.com. Thank you, Random Blocks. You're the goatest. I love you. Let's get in there. Quail Forts. We got some Quail Forts coming in. Sky Base cannot be special summoned. Requires 3 Quail Tributes. Choose normal summon set. If this card is normal summon set, it is unaffected by spell traps, effects, and by activated effects from other monsters whose original level and rank is lower than this card's current level. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of it until the end phase. So, I talked to some people. They said this might be too late for Quail Forts to come out, especially without towers. We will have to see, because it'll be super interesting to see if it ends up being a good card. Gigarays, the Dragon of Destruction. This is the box art cover card. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be first special summon from your hand by sending 2 other monsters from your hand or on the field to the grave. This card gains 300 attack for each banished card. Once per turn, you can pay half your life. Apply this effect depending on the number of Gandora monsters with different names in your grave. If there's 1, destroy all other cards in the field. 2, banish all other cards in the field. Or 3, banish all other cards in the field and in the graveyards. Getting 3 Gandoras would be wild. I think if you're able to even do that, you deserve the win at the point. It's not exactly the easiest monster to get to the graveyard. I guess you could use this guy's effect and just go for a full Gandora deck, but I don't think that's going to come out. We got Cursed Necrofear. Cannot be normal summon set. Must be special summoned by card effect. Target 3 your banished fiend monsters. Special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, shuffle those banished cards into your deck. During the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was destroyed in your monster zone by an opponent's card and sent there this turn, special summon this card from your graveyard. Then you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of face-up spell traps you control with different names. You can only use each effect once per turn. So a different Necrofear. I think this is meant to go with the final board state. Probably not going to see much play of this either unless there's like an anime skill that goes along with it. But it's cool to see a retrain of Dark Necrofear. In the SRs, we got some Psychic Mega Cyber. Ooh, what does this do? If your opponent controls more spell traps than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Psychic Mega Cyber once per turn this way. When this card declares an attack on an opponent's effect monster while you control Jinzo, you contribute this card, place that opponent's monster face up in their spell trap zone as a continuous trap. You can only use the effect once per turn. So I know there's a Jinzo skill that's going to be coming out. So we'll see if that'll be helpful with that once we read the skill. Quail Fort Carrier is here in the SRs. As Pendulum effect is you cannot special summon monsters or except Quail monsters. This effect cannot be negated. All Quail monsters you control gain 300 attacks, so this limits you to playing the Quail Forts. Monster effect, you can normal summon this card without tribute. If this card's normal summon without tribute or special summoned, its level becomes 4. Its original attack becomes 1800. If this card's normal summon set, it is unaffected by activated cards from any monster whose original level rank is lower than the current card's level. If this card is tributed, you can target 1 monster in the field, return it to the hand. There you go, more Quail Fort support. Quail Fort Scout. You cannot special summon monsters except Quail monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, you can pay 100 life, add a Quail card from your deck to your hand, except Scout. There you go. You search your deck. That is a crazy monster effect. Allow Terria Quailfort.ex. What the hell is going on there? Diabound. Ooh, we got some anime cards. Here we go. This is what Duel Links is known for, the anime. When this card declares an attack, it gains 600 attack. Quick effect. Oh, permanent target gain of 600 attack. Quick effect. You can target one face of monster your opponent controls. It loses attack equal to this card's current attack until the end phase, then banish this card until the standby phase of the next turn, which would make it lose its attack. You can only use effect once per turn. So there you go. Pretty cool, pretty cool. This is the interesting one, and it looks like it's an SR if the leaks are to be believed. Of course, leaks can always change, so this might not be guaranteed, but Gravekeeper's Commandment. You can discard this card to the graveyard, add one Necro Valley from your deck to your hand. That is crazy. Necro Valley is one of the most impactful side deck cards, sometimes main deck, depending on meta, especially right now. We are in a very heavy graveyard-based meta with Phantom Knights being the best deck, and they just gave everyone access to 3 more easy Necro Valleys, so we'll see. Gravekeepers themselves also got a boost from this, but I don't know, man. I think this is just going to end up in people's side decks and you know, like, well, not Water XCs. They can't use it due to skill. Maybe that's what's going to end up balancing it. A lot of the anime skills have restrictions on what you can play, and maybe that'll balance this, but I don't know, man. Yeah, decks that don't use the graveyard are feasting right now. So there you go. Spirit Reaper. Oh, there we go. Cannot be destroyed by battle. After resolving a card effect that targets this face-up card, destroy this card. When this card inflicts battle damage by direct attack, randomly discard a card from your hand. Good stall potential, but probably too late for it. Anything that targets this destroys it right away. We have Jinzo Lair, 2 level 6 monsters, generic XC card. Detach a material from this card, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase, but it cannot activate its effects, nor declare an attack. If a trap is on the field, you can tribute a monster, and if you do destroy one face-up card in the field, you can only use each effect of Jinzo Lair once per turn. Interesting Jinzo card. We'll see how... We'll see if this gets used in another level 6. The level 6 pool is already pretty strong, so we'll see if it competes with anything. Amazoness Village. I was actually wondering when we were going to get this card. All Amazon monsters you control gain 200 attack once per turn. When an Amazon monster is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the grave, you can special summon one Amazoness monster from your deck with a level less than or equal to the Amazoness monster in the graveyard. If anyone has done the duel quiz and stuff, you know how powerful this card can be. I don't know if it's enough to bring Amazons in because the cards themselves kind of suck, but hey, it might be something worth messing around with. I mean, those spamming Amazon monsters that just cannot be destroyed by card effect or battle, they have to be banished or sent away, or you'd have to cosmic the village itself, can be a pretty big nuisance. So I'd like to see where that kind of goes with that. Pot of Riches. Shuffle 3 pendulum monsters into the deck from your graveyard and or face up from your extra deck, then draw 2. You can only activate 1 Pot of Riches per turn. You cannot special summon monsters you turn to activate this card except by pendulum summon. 3 pendulum monsters from the graveyard or face up on the extra deck. From the graveyard, it would just be stuff that you discarded, because obviously when it gets destroyed, it wouldn't go there. And then face up would just be the used up pendulum. I don't know. This might be too slow to really matter. We'll have to see. Usually you don't get that far into the game state where you have 3 pendulum monsters face up and you're not like summoning them constantly. Echo Oscillation. You can target 1 card in your pendulum zone, destroy it, then draw 1 card. You can only use the effect once per turn. This is a continuous effect, so this is slow, but once you get it going, you can do it every turn. I think between those two, I'd rather the trap card, but I still think it's too slow to really consider. Rise of the Storm Monarch. Wow, we're actually... looks like we're actually getting this a little earlier than I thought. This is in the selection box Super Mini. If it's tribute summoned, you can when this card's tribute summoned, target 1 card in the field, place that target to the top of the deck. So there you go. That is the URs and SRs. Since this is a mini, we can talk about the rares as well. These are leaked cards, but I guess they're not in the box. We're getting the Seal of Orichalcos. Funny anime card. All monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed with card effects. While you control 2 or more face-up cards, attack position, your opponent cannot target your monster with lowest attack for an attack. If this card's activated, destroy all special summon monsters you control. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. You can only activate 1 Seal of Orichalcos per duel. Summoners are add 1 level 5 or higher normal monster from your deck to your hand. That could be pretty cool if that comes out. And Zama the Spirit. I don't know where these are coming from, but they're not coming from the box. That's really all I know. So there you go. For rares, what do you got for rares? You got Quail Fort Stealth. You cannot special summon monsters except Quail. Yeah. You can normal summon this card without tribute. If you do it this way, it becomes level 4, comes 1800 attack. When it's normal summoned, unaffected by those level or rank lower. When this card's tribute summoned by tributing a Quail monster, you can target one card in the field, return it to the hand. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. Pretty interesting. Here we go. We got another Amazona's Pet Tiger, an Amazona's Tiger plus an Amazona's monster. Once per battle, if this card attacks during damage calc, you can make this card gain 500 attack. During damage calc only, if your Amazona's monster attacked an opponent's monster after damage calc, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 800 attack. Monsters you control cannot attack Amazona's monster you control except this one. Probably not going to use that unless there's a way to cheat out the fusion. Legendary Fisherman number 3. Jesus, how many are there of this guy? How many legends of this guy are there? Cannot be normal summoned sent. Must be special summoned from your hand by tributing Legendary Fisherman. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can banish all monsters your opponent controls. Also, this card cannot attack this turn. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also unaffected by spell trap effects. Once per turn, you return as many cards banished as possible in the graveyards. If you do, the first battle or effect damage your opponent takes becomes doubled. Very interesting card, but having to run the Legendary Fisherman seems to be a pain. Maybe Water XCs can make it work, but I don't know. Probably not. Pretty cool effect, though. Very powerful effect. If a deck figures out how to play this, that's a very strong effect. But it seems very costly. Quail Fort Desk. Pretty much the same things. You can only summon Quail Forts. Becomes 1800, level 4, unaffected. If this card's tribute summoned by tributing a Quail monster, you can special summon 2 Quail monsters from your deck, but destroy them during the end phase, which, because they're pendulums, would go face up in the pendulum zone. So that's pretty cool. Helix, same effects. The unique effect is if this card's tributed, you can target one spell trap, destroy it. There you go. Reflect Bounder. Oh, wow. I'm actually surprised. I thought this card was out already. I guess not. Before damage calc, if this card is being attacked by an opponent's monster and it's in face-up attack, at the start of the damage step, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attacking monster's attack. If you do, after damage calculation, destroy this card. There you go. Psychic Bounder seems to be a bit of a kind of a retrain, not even a retrain, just like another version of the psychic monsters. I don't know, Reflect Bounder or whatever. If this card's normal or special summon, you can add one Jinzo or one spell trap that specifically lists that card in its text. Very interesting, from your deck to your hand. When another monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster, before damage calc, you can destroy both the attacking monster and this card. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Jinzo's looking kind of nice. We'll have to see the skills. This card becomes Skull Servant once in the graveyard. If this card's normal or special, you can send one White Princess from deck to the grave. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the field to graveyard. All monsters currently on the field lose attack and defense equal to their own level rank times 300. White Prince. Skull Servant. Yeah, Skull Servant stuff's not interesting. Law of the Cosmos. Your opponent can set one trap directly from their hand or deck to the spell trap zone. If they do, special summon one Jinzo from your deck. Otherwise, add one Jinzo or one monster specifically listed in its text name to your hand. You can only use one Law of Cosmos per turn. That is an interesting offset, because you can tell them to set a trap from their hand or deck, and then you summon Jinzo, and obviously the trap is dead. But if they have like an MST or something, maybe they can get rid, or not MST, sorry. If they have like a Book of Moon or something, get rid of your Jinzo, then they have your trap ready to go. So it's probably not worth it, but yeah. And either, in worst case scenario, you just add Jinzo to your hand. Your opponent must send one card from the top of their deck to the graveyard to declare an attack. Continuous Gravekeeper Servant. There you go. Sacrifice, equip only to a Quail monster, gains your attack, cannot be destroyed in battle. Equip monster can be treated as 2 tributes. If this card is sent to from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Quail from your deck to your hand. Imperial Tomb of Necro Valley. This is a counter trap. When a spell card, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control both a Gravekeeper's monster and Necro Valley on the field, negate the activation. If you do destroy it, you can only activate one Imperial Tomb of Necro Valley per turn. Again, I think this Necro Valley is just going to be better in other decks with Commandment, but that's a very strong card. So I would like to see people try again with the Gravekeepers. We have Quail Fort. This is the normals. I'll go over them very quickly if they catch my eye. It can make a second attack during the battle phase. In the graveyard, you gain life points. Sea King Dragon, protected by a tough shell. This Master of Sea attacks its enemies with toxic bubbles. God damn. And it's a water, so you can make Casitas with this. Sheesh. Fenrir is kind of whatever. You can banish 2 water monsters to summon him. And if when this card destroys opponent's monsters roll a battle, your opponent skips the next draw phase. 1400 though, so probably not going to happen a whole lot. Electric Virus, discard this card to the graveyard. Target 1 machine or dragon type your opponent controls. Take control until the end phase. Might be an interesting little side deck card there if we ever have a machine or dragon meta. Keep that in mind. White Nightmare, more Skull Servant stuff, don't care. Everlasting Alloy, if you control Jinzo. Activate one of these effects. All machine monsters you control cannot be destroyed with battle card effects until the end of this turn. When a card or effect is activated that targets machine you control, negate that effect. This is actually kind of cool because it's a quick play, so that might be relevant. Cosmo Channeling, you can send 1 monster you control that is owned by your opponent to the graveyard. Special summon 1 machine from your hand or graveyard. When your opponent draws for their normal draw in their draw phase while you control Jinzo, you can declare 1 card type monster spell trap. Your opponent reveals the card they drew, and if the dead declared type, send that card to the grave. And if you do, draw 1 card. You can only use this effect once per turn. Interesting, maybe a little cheesy, but it's there. If you control a machine monster, send 1 Jinzo from your hand or deck to the grave, inflict 600 damage to your opponent during your main phase. Except the turn this card sent to the graveyard, you can banish it, then target 1 machine monster to the graveyard, send 1 Jinzo from your deck to the graveyard. If you do, add the targeted monster to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Laser Quilp, during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Quail in addition to your normal summon. Cyber Energy Shock, if you control Jinzo, target 1 card in the field, destroy it. Then if there's a trap, apply one of these effects. Negate the effects of 1 face-up card in the field until the end phase. Each Jinzo gains 800 attack. Insect Barrier, everything becomes insect, and then Launch gains 300. Unaffected by other spell traps, also effects are negated. So there you go. Overall, Commandment is like a must-have for competitive players, and Jinzo might be good. Let's actually keep scrolling down. There's the sprites. Here are the skills. Let's look at some of these skills that are coming out. White Magician's Shining Shield can be used if you control spellcaster type monster. Roll a die 2 times. Monsters your opponent control with levels equal to or greater than the sum of the results cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. This skill can only be used once per duel. Interesting. White Magician's Defensive can only be used if you control a spellcaster. Roll a dice twice and apply the appropriate effect based on the result. 2, decrease defense of all your opponent's monster by 1,000. 3 to 7, decrease defense of all monsters your opponent controls by 700. 8 to 11, decrease defense your opponent controls by 500, and decrease defense by your opponent controls by 100. So whatever. If you have 5 or more fiend type monsters or zombie type monsters with different names in your deck, you will have an improved chance of having a fiend or zombie type in your starting hand. Okay, you cannot special summon or activate monster effects until the end of the main phase. Why? That just ruins the skill. Who gives a shit? Who cares? God, whatever. Send 1 fiend or zombie type non-effect monster from your hand to the grave. Roll a die twice and play 1 fiend or zombie effect with the levels below the graveyard based on the result. 2 level or rank 8 or lower. 3 to 11, 4, and 12 rank 2 or lower. Skill can only be used if you begin the duel with a deck excluding extra deck that includes 1 monster that contains no monsters other than fiend or zombie. You can only use once per duel. Building a diorama can only be used during a duel. We have Ritual Summon a ritual monster whose original level is 8 or higher. Add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand, then return 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. When begin a duel that contains at least 4 ritual monsters and 4 ritual spells. Interesting. Might be a little bit of a meme you can build with this. Determination of Fight. Apply either of these following effects, then place 1 Gandora the Dragon of Destruction or 1 Gandora X the Dragon of Demolition to your graveyard from outside your deck. Return your card from your hand to your deck and add 1 Gandora monster from your deck to your hand. You can also normal summon 1 Gandora monster in addition to your regular normal summon during this turn. Send 1 gadget monster from your field to the graveyard, then play 1 Silent Magician level 4 or Swordsman level 3 from outside your deck. This skill can only use the deck excluding extra deck that contains at least 10 gadget Silent Swordsman or Silent Magician monsters. Interesting. So it's just a Yugi roleplay skill. Maybe it'll help you use the big boy Gandora effect as well. Spear Grasp can only be used once per duel. Send 1 lovely dark monster from your hand to the grave, then draw 1 card. Can only be used when you before your normal summon or normal draw if you have at least 3 monsters in your grave. Instead of conducting normal draw, add 1 level 5 or higher monster from your hand to your hand from your graveyard. Then select up to 3 fiend monsters in your graveyard. banish them. This will help you with your Necro Fear monster, getting that out. Skill I'm going to use if you begin the duel with at least a deck that contains at least one Dark Necrofear and no monsters other than zombie type or zombie. So you have to play the original Dark Necrofear and the new one. Interesting. Supernatural Tactics. Send one monster from your hand or field that originally belongs to your opponent or a monster on your field with Jinzo and its text to the grave. Then play one the Fiend Mega Cyber from outside your deck. Following this, if your opponent does not control any traps, place face up Cyber Raider to your opponent's spell trap zone from outside your deck as a continuous trap. You can special summon only machine monsters during the turn you use this skill. Only be used once per duel. Interesting. To get you some get rid of your opponent's monster. Very interesting. Can only be used to control face-up monster in the beginning of your battle phase. Roll a 10-sided die 2 times and apply the appropriate effects. Your monsters gain 1,000 attack. They gain 500. So it's like the opposite. You just gain attack instead. Interesting. Okay. There's also this is the OG Dark Magician on Blue Eyes. The animated mats. Going full DM era again on us. Looking good, looking good. That's a really cool GX sleeve. And that is pretty much it. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think of this box. It's not as good as the Phantom Knight one. But you know, like at least this box will have, you know, meta impact, at least on the competitive scene. I mean, Gravekeeper's Commandment alone. More Necro Valleys, right? So we'll see how it ends up. Thank you guys for watching. Till the next video, like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Peace out.